Our next speaker is a gentleman that I know quite well. It is Alex Eleftheriadis. He's a chief scientist and co-founder of Video. Alex drives the technical vision and the direction for Video and also represents the company on standardization committees and technical advisory boards. He's an award-winning researcher, bringing 24 years of research experience in video compression and communication to his role at Video. Prior to Video, he was an associate professor of electrical engineering at Columbia University, and Alex has more than 100 publications and holds more than 80 patents. Alex, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So this is actually, this is not a personal talk per se. This is the first of a series of talks which we will do on the activities, on the activity groups of IMTC. So today I'm here in the capacity of chairing the Scalable and Simulcast Video activity group. Okay, and throughout these 2 days there will be similar presentations by different colleagues. So this group, SSV, was approved by the board in May 2014, but it's actually not new. It is a result of the merging of two groups, the Scalable Video Coding Group from IMTC and the corresponding Scalable Video Coding Group from the UCI Forum. That group was actually renamed Video Working Group in the UCIF, and then they merged. The combined group was organized in July 2014, so that was fairly recent. And it got a new name, Scalable and Simulcast Video Activity Group, to more clearly identify the focus of what it is that it will do. So I'm co-chairing it with Jesus Sampedro from Polycom and Gal Eliras Levonai from Avaya, and you can find details about it on the IMTC website. Now, what we do is focus on interoperability for video communication systems, okay, that use scalable video coding, including simulcast. Okay, and the work of the original SVC group, and of course this one as well, came to be because of several developments in the industry over the past several years. First of all, there is scalability in video codecs, particularly for video communication. In fact, Video was the first company to introduce scalable video coding for video conferencing in 2008 with H.264 SVC. Okay, now it turns out VP8 also has scalability, temporal scalability, even though it was not designed for that reason. It turns out that it actually has that. And of course, later codecs like HEVC or H.265, which was finished in January 2014, it has temporal scalability. Version 2, which was just finished in July, and it's called SHVC, has spatial and quality scalability as well. And of course, VP9, which is, as you just heard, is being now deployed certainly for entertainment content, but it's also been engineered for communications, is coming along. In fact, Video is collaborating with Google on the development of a scalable version for VP9. In fact, I have a presentation tomorrow, and maybe I can show you a demo of scalable VP9 decoding on my laptop. So the second development was simulcast. Now, simulcast came as an alternative to scalable video coding in that you do have multiple representations of your video signal in terms of multiple streams, but those streams are not interdependent. They're independently encoded, ergo the simulcast. And Link works that way, and WebRTC now, actually, as of the summer, can actually do simulcast of VP8 streams, okay? Now, all this is interesting. Why? And actually that was the reason why Video originally introduced SVC, is because they enable a new architecture for the server in a video communication system, which originally was called MCU, which is now called SFU, Selective Forwarding Unit. That's a new term that we actually coined, and it's been incorporated in the RTP topologies update. So in other words, it's becoming a recognized architecture in the IETF canon. So in the update of RSC 5117, for those who are inclined to know these things, there will be an update that will incorporate these architectures. And in addition to the video router, which was the original device doing that, now many more are doing it. Link is one example, but there are also open source software like the Zitzy Video Bridge, which is designing and developing this sort of thing, and many others. Okay. So with these developments, the objective of this group is to address interoperability for these systems. Okay. At the bitstream level, so what is produced by an encoder, okay, and at the transport level, how the bits produced by the encoder are put into RTP packets. These are the two elements that the group focuses, okay? And in general, in the IMTC, we did not produce specifications per se, but we addressed requirements, test cases, and system architecture. I guess there was a missing part. So in terms of the work items for the group, I will list here both finished and pending ones, just so you get a sense of the scope of the work that we do. One of the early things we did actually in the UCIM forum side before the merger was to design a set of new profiles for H.264 AVC and SVC, which were proposed to ITU and ISO and became actually official profiles in January 2012. Constraint high, scalable constraint baseline, and scalable constraint high. Actually, a group of companies, all in the UC space, Video, Polycom, Microsoft, okay, LifeSight, RadVision, we all came together. We made a joint contribution to the group, and we said, you know what, the UC industry needs these profiles. And we were, our request was sort of approved, and we got these 3 profiles, which was great because they represent our collective experience with the standard several years after it was completed. Because the original profiles were designed before there was substantial deployment in the field. So that's actually I think, a very big accomplishment of our joint work. A second item that was finished early on is the bitstream specification for SVC, which is referred to as the mode specification. And this defines a subset, if you wish, of the AVC and SVC standards that has all the elements useful for UC, so that by limiting the parameter space of the design, you actually allow the systems to interoperate. Okay, so it defined particular ways that you should be encoding in SVC stream to make sure that you, A, get all the benefits of the standard, B, it will interoperate with all the different other vendors. And in fact, we did an interop test in the SuperOp, in IMTC SuperOp in 2013. That was the first test of what's called Mode 1, which refers to temporal scalability in SVC, as part of this spec. And the spec was actually finished in December 2012. The spec is, okay, should be cleaner. The spec is available. It's a UCI document, but now that after the merger, you can actually download it from the, you will be able to download it from the SSV Activity Group website. A second spec that was finished was a SVC RTP transport spec. And again, this is not to replace the RTP payload formula for SVC, which is RFC 6190. To the contrary, it takes the spec and defines, again, a subset, okay, because you don't need all the different options and parameters and so on and so forth, that will facilitate interoperability. That was finished this past summer, June 2014. Okay? And again, this is also available now as an IMTC document, although it was completed when it was part of the UCI forum. Now, in terms of the active work that we're doing right now, first is our work on the bitstream specification for HEVC, or H.265. Our work will include SHVC, which was finished in July, so it will not be just for the temporal scalability alone. It will also include spatial and quality. We plan to finish it by the end of this year. And we're actually going to be developing jointly with HCL a command line tool that will allow people to pre-certify the bitstream format. Okay, this is actually quite new for IMTC, meaning certification. It came over from the UCI forum work, and this will be the first foray, I guess, in recent times, because IMTC in the past has done certification work, that we are actually engaged in that. The ultimate goal will be to have complete end-to-end testing of interoperability of a system, so that would include not just the bitstream, but transport and signaling. Okay? This particular group does not deal with signaling. We decided to keep it just on the bitstream and transport level, and all the signaling work, because of the different architectural issues that are involved, and because of the divergence that happened with scalable and simulcast in the past, there is a new group called MAIN, and you'll hear more about it actually this afternoon by Bernarda Boba, took over the task of dealing with all the signaling issues for UC systems. So that work, again, is ongoing. Of course, it will be complemented by the transfer specification. Again, how you're going to put HEVC bits into packets. There is ongoing work in the ITF for the payload format. It's not finished yet. The latest version is 6 as of August 2014. But it's basically in its final stages of being done. I think it's actually in last call. working group, let's call, but I'm not 100% sure. So for our work, we expect to finish our work in the first quarter of 2015. In terms of a scalable extension, the transport piece of that, we don't have a schedule yet because there's no internet draft created. It's very likely, actually, though, that may not, the internet draft that will be produced for the first version might even cover the second. Okay, but it's to be determined. And we hope, we don't know for sure yet, to be able to test these things, setting the business specification in the SuperOp 2015, which will be in May 2015. So there will be a test plan created, but usually this work starts after January, February, when we get closer to the event. Again, this is just, there's no commitment right now that people will have the products ready to testing, but there's certainly the plan to do that. The final thing that we're actually looking at is in order to facilitate signaling of the use of these designs, to include what's called a UC mode parameter, to indicate that whatever the encoder is doing is complying with these specifications. That will save you a ton of description in a potential offer-answer scenario where you can, with a single indication of, I am UC mode 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z, you can tell a lot of things about how you have configured your system. So that's an active work item and should become an informational, I guess, ID sometime in the next months. So again, I encourage everybody to participate if you're interested in video coding and transport for communication applications. We have a mailing list and where we communicate, but we actually have live meetings, via video every 2 weeks using video systems, and we're seeing, on September 17, so you can put it on your calendar at 12 noon Eastern, and there is strong participation from companies that are heavily involved in video conferencing. Okay, and that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about this activity group. None? Good? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.